If you've been trapped in negative self-talk about how you can't change and get rid of your procrastination, then listen. Go grab yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, because in this video, we are changing your life. I'm going to give you a structured, step-by-step formula that helped me heal my chronic procrastination. So inspire yourself, take what you need, and leave out the rest. Let's be real. Procrastination is ruining our lives, and it's not about the dirty dishes piling up in the sink, but mostly about the promises we break. Leaving friends on scene instead of replying, and not following up on our dreams. Before we dive into the tactics, we need to uncover why do you procrastinate? To address the root cause so you know that you're fighting the right battle. You might realize you only need a certain portion of the steps that I'm going to talk about, and life will get easier again. Chronic procrastination is often a trauma response wired into your nervous system. It can serve you as an emotional regulation when you feel anxious or overwhelmed. So instead of dealing with the feelings, you start to scroll or hide behind low dopamine tasks. Or it can be that your nervous system sees the challenge in front of you as a threat to your self-image. For example, being a great person who has their shit together is a threat to your current negative self-talk. And so your nervous system causes friction and doesn't let you elevate your life. It can also be that your procrastination is your comfort zone. So the only thing you need to do is to expand your capacity for discomfort, which we will talk about as the last step today. But just to tell you, your brain is not lazy. It has never been. It's just wired for comfort. And it can also run as deep as feeling that whatever you do, it will never be enough, and so you don't even need to try. I hope these examples are clear, and before we move on to the step-by-step healing process, try to reflect on which one feels the most true to you. I named my formula that I'm going to talk about R.E.S.T, but to promise it's not only about a physical rest, despite it's a small part of it. So let's have a look at the first step. R stands for rest and reward. Let's start with real deep rest. And as boring as that might sound, in the world is trying to convince us that productivity means constant hustle and struggle, the main reason for your procrastination might be simply overwhelmed nervous system. And then you easily fall into the trap of thinking that you're relaxing while watching funny cat videos or scrolling through reels on Instagram. But that's just tiring your brain and squeezing it like a lemon. It's like having 50 tabs open in your browser till your laptop freezes. So what I mean by that is a deep rest. You need to let your body experience screen-free downtime, which makes you feel rejuvenated as if you were born again. You probably won't solve this by one Sunday afternoon while secretly judging yourself for doing nothing, but maybe multiple Sunday afternoons. If you intentionally plan uninterrupted breaks, and if your state is chronic, then do so whenever you can. This can mean different things for different people. Maybe you will need to schedule a massage appointment, or maybe you just need to play with your kids without checking your phone. The importance is in the mindset shift. Stop seeing rest as something unproductive, because in order to heal, you need to rest fully. And the more you can rest in the present moment, the faster the healing process. People who experience burnout or strong trauma response need the time to pass for their bodies to feel fully recovered again. So if you consider yourself someone in this category, just know that it's not only your brain that is tired. You need your body to recover. It can also mean that you need just a little bit more sleep. So first things first, make a mindset shift that rest is actually productive and reevaluate what kind of rest you need. The second part of this puzzle is a reward. In this context, we are turning your usual escape into a celebration. This approach I'm about to tell you was even tested in some research experiment about productivity, that people became more productive when they treated their procrastination as a reward. Because obviously, you enjoy your procrastination in a sense. You like to have a clean apartment before you can do anything else. You like to binge on YouTube videos. Hey, who's not guilty of that? But try to make it your reward, either right after you finish the thing you need to do or in the process. In that research was a group of people who wanted to exercise on a regular basis. And so they were allowed to listen to their favorite podcast or turn on Netflix only when walking on a treadmill or doing some other type of physical exercise. This is also one of the first steps I took when I was healing from my chronic state. And obviously, I don't like to encourage multitasking, but if this can be the first step that will get you out of the vicious cycle, then go do it. So whatever you procrastinate on, try to turn it into a reward. Or you can set a timer, and for the desired length of your procrastination, you firstly have to spend the time working on your goals. I guess you get the point. That leads us to E, which stands for energy, evidence, and environment. The first is the most important. Even if you're the best at beating your procrastination, if you're depleted and don't manage your energy levels well, it will always backfire on you. If you're drained, you won't be able to keep up with your plans and promises, and your brain will try to convince you that you can't do it. But that's a lie. So it brings us to the second piece of this part, and that's evidence. For this one, you'll need to journal. Because how else would you like to collect proof of your progress? Will you grant yourself a golden star on the fridge each time you success? This step is not here to pet your ego, but return your nervous system to safety. There are two main ways I can recommend you try. The first one is so-called brain dump method. And you can try this one if you feel already overwhelmed waking up in the morning thinking of all the things you have to do that day or that week. First thing in the morning, just take your journal and transfer everything what's in your head onto the paper. It can be a mess, the paper doesn't care. All you need to do is to free yourself from the clutter in your mind. The second approach is to start by writing down the hard part first. The evidence of your old self that you're fed up with, and the ways how you can make it easier for them to change. So figuring out what you need to become who you want to be. How can you step out of your comfort zone? This was a huge step for me because through journaling, I found out that I'm no longer the person who's not following up on things. And I used to consider myself someone who can't pay attention to the detail, but that wasn't true either. I was just overwhelmed. It starts small, but with each win and each tiny evidence you write down, your progress gets bigger. And if you're stuck on the hard part of finding out what's actually blocking you, try to notice patterns, like recurring negative self-talk, or times in a day when you feel like your resistance is unshakable. Is it after lunch when you feel tired? Is it after speaking with someone you don't like because you feel upset? You'll start noticing the triggers of your avoidance, and you can move on from there. You can also ask yourself why you feel like you can't take the next step, or what is holding you back from doing the thing you are procrastinating on. That's the best question when you feel frozen, because your negative self-talk is rubbish. And seeing it written on paper will help you realize that. You are a capable human being. You can do anything that you set your mind to. So go find out what's your main blocker, or limiting beliefs, or trauma response that is holding you back, and write your heart out. And if you want to hear more on shifting your identity through journaling, I'll link my latest video in the description below. And with that being said, let's move on to the environment. Because your environment can be your biggest friend or your greatest enemy, considering the amount of distraction it provides. At this point, it's great to take mental notes of your triggers. Those are usually sneaky little things like your phone or background noises or cluttered desk. Give yourself a few days or a week in which your only goal is to spot on your recurring self-sabotage and the main triggers. Of course, the biggest and the worst one is the smartphone, which we're all glued to. And if you can do anything and everything that will help you get rid of the addiction, just do it. I will share 2 tips that helped me tremendously, and first is using an app called Opal. Its free version is very much enough, and I turn it on during the work week not to be tempted to look at my phone and to seriously get some work done. So I block all social apps 9 to 5, and I'm only available if someone calls me or sends a text message. Who does that these days? Like your parents? This already cut off the time I spend on my phone significantly, but the second best thing is to do the color switch at night, so I use the red filter. Not only it's healthier for your eyes, but it also makes scrolling super boring. I recommend you to have some rules over your phone so it doesn't rule over you. When talking about external environment, cluttered space equals cluttered mind. So go see if it's your environment causing your mental stagnation. Maybe you don't feel inspired. Not because it's messy, but something feels unfinished or empty. Or it might be that you have too many random objects on your working desk. Observe as if you've just walked into your space for the first time and see if you feel overwhelmed or avoidance creeping in. Ask yourself what is causing these feelings. Then we head on to S, simple and small steps. Both of them are crucial if you're treating a chronic state. Because you might be someone who considers themselves a perfectionist, or maybe you tend to people please, or you simply have a very low capacity for experiencing failure. And so it seemed to you that you need to have and do everything all at once. And then you either break down, burn out, or give up. So let's start with simple. What do you do to make things simple? You cut them to pieces, like a cake. If you eat the whole cake all at once, you'll end up sick of it. And it can be a very small thing, like your friend just sent you the longest story time over a text or voice message. It happened in the exact moment when you are juggling 10 other things and you already feel overwhelmed that you don't know where to start with a reply. Not to bail on them, just start with, "I'll get back to you soon." Don't make it fluffy, keep it simple, but do it. Think of it as if you are packing on a late notice. Just take the essentials and go. If your chronic state shows up as a freeze in your body and you feel paralyzed to do anything, your body needs to experience the relief of taking simple steps. With the simple step, do a straight jump and then leave it. Don't procrastinate on making a list. I know you want to. So after that, you can take the smallest step. Once again, don't make a huge list of everything you need to do. You will want to burn it. Piling to-do list is what keeps you in the vicious cycle. What I do when I feel even the slightest overwhelm is write myself a sticky note. And I have a limit for them. No more than 5 sticky notes on my desk. Everything else is probably not a matter of life and death, and it will have to wait. If someone asks you for something and you let them know that you're busy, don't worry, they will keep in touch. Or maybe in the meantime, they figure themselves out. And that's for all the people pleasers out there. You don't have to save everyone, but just do the smallest step and tell that you're busy. Because otherwise, I guess your teams are still pinging you each hour or two. It is also a great approach when you feel like you're about to explode, knowing what's in front of you. Small, steady steps will get you further. Remember, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And in case it's a sprint because you have tough deadlines, then what I experience often, and maybe it's your case too, that there is this one single blocker that stands in your roadmap and blocking on what you need to deliver. In that case, go identify the critical step. It can be gathering an input from an unresponsive colleague or, yes, talking to someone you despise, but just do the first step so you can clear it and ease the whole flow. Or if you're facing a short deadline and you tend to be blocked by perfectionism and you feel dreadful because the task at hand seems like it will take longer than what you can allocate to it, do sketches, do drafts on the highest priorities and then leave it. Once you're done with the rest and you still have time, you can polish it to your perfection. And remember that your level of perfection is not everybody else's level of perfection. That brings me to my last point today, and that's T. Test and tension. The last phase is here to test you. Make it an experiment. What if in 1 week, or not to make it so tough, in 1 day, you won't procrastinate at all? And if yes, you go within, evaluate your energy levels, and consider the simplest and smallest step you can take. When I started noticing that I'm actually getting better, and I was faced with yet another challenge, I heard that my inner response changed to, "And what if I do it now?" Instead of avoiding the task. What if you do that small thing you need to do, and it is going to be painless? That gets me right into the second, and that's tension. You have to be able to stretch the rubber band, let's say. To increase the capacity of your nervous system, think of it as of a rubber band. If you never pull it, it stays limp, and if you stretch it too hard, it snaps back to where it was very fast. You have to start experimenting with slight discomfort because it will build up your resilience and trust in yourself. So once you've done all of the previous steps and you know that you're on the right path, you're starting to feel better about yourself. And there's yet another hard task in front of you. Evaluate your energy levels and see if you can do a small portion of it, a half of it, a third of it right at the moment. Step by step, choose a tougher task Or again, set yourself a timer and see what you can do. Maybe you set it for 15 minutes and then you realize, I'm still able to go on. Or maybe after 15 minutes, you can go and make your procrastination a reward. And the last tip I have for you today is just a reminder. When you face a minor procrastination urge, you get a little anxious or bored and you already see yourself reaching out for your phone, think of it as tearing off a plaster. Just recognize the sensation and tear it off, put your phone down, flip the screen onto the table, and if it was a small urge, you won't even feel it. If it's something bigger, it might hurt for a little moment, but you won't even remember it in a week. What you will remember is staying present, building trust in yourself, or writing down another win. Okay, I feel like it's about the right time to end today's episode. And if you like this video, I really think you would like the one about life-changing journaling methods. Or until next time, stay safe and go live your life.